Hello, so let's go take a little walk in the winter landscape and talk about what I've been up to all this time, since I haven't been making so many videos. But now it's time to give an update. So what I've been doing is I've gone back to school. I am now a student. I am studying programming, JavaScript right now. I'm also going to do C#, and this is full time what I'm doing, so I don't have time to make videos all the time. But now we're going to take a walk and see what we want to talk about. Supposed to be springtime, but we have snow. I hope it doesn't ruin my sound equipment. It's not gonna ruin my camera, I know that, but the sound is not waterproof. Well, it's not looking good for the transmitter. But let's go and see. Because if you don't use it, what's the point? Might as well risk getting it wet. Okay. Today I tried asking ChatGPT about myself. Tell me about the men's rights activist Eyvind Belge. And the answer was hilarious. You should try it. It had a good idea who I am, but then it mixed in some completely made up facts that are not facts, they're lies. Well, I'm not gonna even repeat it, it's so stupid. Okay, let us now keep going. Let's have a talk and walk in the winter landscape. Should be spring, but we got snow instead. It is March 12th or something. No, I mean, yeah, I think that's right. It's very unusual weather for this time around here. So here is my village. And we'll go for a walk in my village. Where shall we go today? Shall we go uphill? Let's have a walk up the mountain. Up the mountain and up to Övre Veland. This is Veland, which is my village. So let's go for a walk uphill and see what we find and talk about what I've been up to for the past few months that I haven't been making videos. That's because I went back to school, studying programming. I'm finally learning something useful, which I never did before. It remains to be seen if I can make a living out of that, but at least I'm learning something which is also going to be good for activism, because I know I can make the sites. I have started making the mraarchive.com. That's mra-archive.com. That way I will not be reliant or dependent on these moderators at Google and elsewhere. They can no longer moderate my blogging. Because what happened lately, they started interfering for the first time. They've never done that before at Blogger. They started interfering about NoFap. That's, of all things, that men's rights activists write about. The one thing we can't say at Google is NoFap. We are not allowed to criticize masturbation or pornography, because if you do that, they'll put you behind a warning. They won't censor you, but they will put you behind a sensitive content warning. And that is unacceptable for me. It is totally unacceptable. So I'm migrating to the mraarchive.com. At least for those controversial posts that are about NoFap. I don't know how about here on YouTube. Are you allowed to speak about NoFap here? Can you say that it's bad to masturbate if you're a man? That it's toxic to male sexuality, which it is, because of the opportunity cost. Because you should be having sex instead. You don't want to hurt your libido with pornography or masturbation. You want to be your best sexual self, ready to pounce on every opportunity. If you're a sexualist, if you're a normal man, if you care, if you want to enjoy life, you practice NoFap. That's my opinion. And I'll find elsewhere to express it if you can't do it here. Okay, enough controversial talk. Let's just go for a walk. I guess I totally couldn't think of things to talk about, but oh yeah, let's talk about nominalism. That's not controversial, that's just philosophical. So I don't think it can get us into any trouble. Yeah, I've come to be a nominalist. I used to sort of entertain some Platonism about mathematics, especially when I got into Bitcoin. For a while it seemed to me like maybe those addresses sort of accessed some Platonic numbers that where you could store your wealth in those Platonic numbers, right? But that's not actually what's happening. Because what does a Bitcoin address actually do? It just tells your computer to make some electrical signals that are like voltage spikes or whatever. They're not numbers. They're just the right kind of signals that get other computers to do certain things. It doesn't actually invoke any pure numbers. And there is no such thing as a Platonic number. Numbers are just formalisms about stuff in this world. Mathematics is just well, at best a formalism, or at worst it's just fiction. But it's very useful as such formalisms, and of course you can use Bitcoin all you want, and it's very useful. And none of what I'm saying now means it's any less useful. It just means it's not philosophically Platonism that you're playing with. You're playing with voltages, and those voltages could correspond to any kind of symbol that you want to put on it. It doesn't correspond to a necessary number. You don't even need numbers in order to talk about it. That's just useful. Just like you don't need numbers to describe a combination lock, an analog combination lock. You can put any kind of symbols on that dial, or no symbols at all, and it will still work just fine. It's not relying on numbers at all. And real numbers, or numbers in the Platonic sense, don't exist. And Bitcoin then fundamentally works in the same analog way as a combination lock. Like these locks you would have on your locker that you turn 3 times this way and then 2 times one way and 1 time the other. It doesn't really have any numbers in it. In order to use it and unlock it, you don't need to use any numbers. It's just a useful shortcut to solving it, right? And same for Bitcoin. It's about voltages. That's what computers actually manipulate. They don't manipulate numbers. Numbers are not used at the lowest level of a computer. Computers do not process numbers. That sounds insane to say that, but philosophically it's true. And if you're talking about Platonism, there's no such thing inside the computer, and probably no such thing in any kind of realm of reality. And another thing I wanted to say about that is how it has changed my opinion of Donald Hoffman and his interface theory, and ultimately what he thinks is the whole thing that reality is doing, which is to explore what he calls this Gödel's candy store, which is a supposed infinite exploration of mathematics. Now, if you are a nominalist, then that thing can't exist because there's nothing to explore. It relies on Platonism about mathematics. Of course, you're free to believe in Platonism. That idea has been around, of course, as long, at least as far back as Plato. But I don't think it's true. I don't think Donald Hoffman's theories are conceivable without Platonism, because there's just nothing there to explore. There's no lower level of reality than this space-time. At least it's not based on mathematics. It can still be based on consciousness, but not mathematics. It's not mathematics that this universal consciousness is exploring. Because mathematics is just a formalism of this world. Perhaps of any possible world, but not... Oh shit, there I said something that sounded Platonistic. If it's in any possible world. But anyway, no, I don't believe in Platonism. I have become a nominalist. And there was another point I wanted to make, which is political again, but I think it's general enough to not get me in trouble here. And that is, there's no such thing as a light punishment. When you criminalize somebody for their basic nature, if you slap a light punishment on it, then that's not a light punishment, because you just go on offending, right? And then you'll be re-imprisoned right where you left off, and it all adds up to life in prison, right? So there's no such thing. So quit thinking that, for example, Norway has lenient sentences for something like prostitution or something like for the men who bought paper. That is a myth. Reality is it's life in prison. Well, it's only a matter of resources for the cops if they're able to imprison you for life. And that's just a matter of, can they surveillance you all the time and so on and so forth. Their job is to ruin your life if you're a man. And whether they succeed is only a matter of resources. So, make of that the ideology you want. I know what mine is. Maybe you do too, but I won't go into more detail here. Let's go into detail at the MRI archive. Here, say, inoffensive stuff from the winter landscape for our walk. Which now we're pretty high up in the mountains there. If you can call it that. tractor coming down. And here it says farm. Oops. Farm and children. Okay. So it's somebody's garden, and there's also a farm. And the road is going straight through their garden, pretty much. It looks like they have some sheep inside there. Mm-hmm.